This is Apex Chassis, builder of extreme duty steering and suspension products. Hey, my name's Chris. I'm one of the founders here at Apex, along with Joe and Donetta. Really excited to hang out with you here today and have a little chat about our products and the company. Apex Chassis is a relatively new brand for us. We've been around for about 4 years, but previous to that, we had a family business called XRF Chassis, which was a full-line steering suspension products company with over 6,000 SKUs. So we've got over 30 years in this industry. We sold XRF about 5 years ago, and as we sold it, we realized there was a real niche market for 4x4 off-road steering and suspension. So we formed Apex Chassis. We've got 3 partners in the business, Joe, and Donetta, and I, each with our own individual skill sets. We started our product line at Apex mainly with Jeep steering for JLs, JTs, and JKs. We started with 2.5 ton and 1 ton steering, as well as ball joints. Since then, we've expanded into Ford Super Duty, Dodge Ram 2500, 3500 steering. We just launched Bronco steering, and we're about to launch Toyota this summer. We also have heavy-duty parts for Chevys as well. On top of our steering products, we also have ball joints for almost every steering application that we carry. Here at Apex, our entire research and development process starts with the warranty bin. We work with a lot of installer shops, and we go around and we find out where the stuff is broken, what makes it easy to install, what they don't like about the install, and then from there we work on improving it. We look at ball joints, we tear them apart, we see where the bearings failed, we look at pull-out strength, where the ball studs have actually pulled out, and we work to figure out how we can increase the strength of those products. If there's one thing I can say about Apex, our quality is not consistent, it's only improving. Let me tell you about a few of the features of this product. One, SAE 1045 solid steel forged housings. Chromoly ball stud with an induction heat treatment. We use castle nuts on everything instead of jam nuts. Jam nuts just don't hold the torque properly. We use rolled threads instead of cut threads. So for example, these threads go through basically a cold forging technique that forges the shape of the threads into the ball stud. Much better than a cut thread, which actually removes metal, makes that a weaker point in the ball stud. We also designed a anti-wobble bearing on the tie rod. Because this sits out in front of the diff cover and it has the weight of the tie rod that's trying to pull it down, if you look at your OE steering, it's constantly in a droop mode. But we built an anti-wobble bearing in here that allows for 27 degrees of stud swing this way, but only 8 degrees of stud swing forward and aft. So it always keeps that tie rod in plane in front of your diff cover.
Hey everybody, Joe at Apex here, jumping in to talk about our parts today.
So we just want to talk about the evolution of our product. We're going to talk about our JL, JT tie rod ends here. Joe, you want to talk about how we started with this?
Sure. So at Apex, we've always tried to focus on the quality for the customer. So we started off with this design here, which is a simple round tie rod end. It's kind of the way the industry thought all these parts should be built, but we don't rest on that. We went to see how we could make this stronger. So then we looked at the way the industry has kind of gone is towards this I-beam design. And we thought the I-beam design would be stronger, but to prove it out, we put all of these parts into SolidWorks, and then we did some real interesting engineering testing, which revealed that in fact, the square design was significantly stronger than any other design, round or I-beam. Our new design, because we just don't stop there, the market has said that phosphate coating, which is great, doesn't last in all the environmental conditions around the United States. So we've now taken that phosphate coating and added an E-coat on top of it. So it just improves the longevity of the part even more.
And Joe, what did we do to the geometry of that to improve it?
Great question. So with the original design, we were potentially having some inner wheel contact with OE wheels. We've since taken that and modified that geometry a little bit so that there's no more contact with the inside stock wheels, no need for wheel spacers, no other nonsense like that. So for those that are running hydraulic assist power steering, it's a much stronger product to get. So Chris, why don't you talk about the heat treatment as well? Once we updated the geometry of the part, we did something for the heat treatment as well. What's that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So originally with this, we had more of an OE style heat treatment. That's for working with steel connecting rods. There's no flexibility within the connecting rods necessarily. But with these products, we're using both steel and aluminum connecting rods. And what we're finding, of course, with the aluminum, there's some flexibility in the aluminum, particularly with hydro assist steering. And just these bigger tires, the wheels are getting stuck in crevices. They're putting a lot more force on this system than they're really used to in an OE environment. So what we did is we did more of an annealing style heat treatment, which allowed for some more flexibility within the tie rod end to work with the flexible aluminum. So what that new heat treatment did is allow this to bend with about 25% more force than it used to brake at. So Joe, we've got some Jeep JL steering here. What did we do to this to improve it from OE design?
Excellent question. So at Apex, our design philosophy has always been, what's the best way to build the part so it's the strongest and it's going to last the customer the longest and give them the best performance? So with the OE design, you have a bunch of bent tubes and these split adjusting sleeves that are weak by design, but that's the way Jeep makes them and they're good while they're on the road. As soon as you get off the road, as soon as you put on really big tires, lift, hit the rocks, hit the ledges, now you need to go a little bit further. So what we've decided to do is put all of the geometry in the steering system into the forged rod end. The forged piece here is stronger than any tube is ever going to be. So then we use a direct connection, direct thread in adjusting sleeve, and this makes for a super strong system. Whenever you need to adjust it, it's this one piece in the middle, you tighten up the jam nuts, and you're good to go.
So what do we have? We've got a left and a right-hand thread on each side?
We do. If you're going to make this as an adjusting mechanism, it has to be able to turn it one way, it pulls both pieces closer together. You turn it the other way, it pushes them further apart. So getting your alignment just perfectly adjusted is super simple to do, even in your driveway.
We've come up with something, right, that's going to help lock these jam nuts in place. So instead of using OE style pinch clamp adjusting sleeves, we're direct thread into this connecting rod, and then we're going to tighten it down with jam nuts and hold it all together.
So one of the well-known industry problems with jam nuts is that a jam nut up against this metal piece here has the potential to come loose. So people have tried Loctite, they've tried Belleville washers, they've tried a bunch of different things to get those jam nuts to stay in place. So in the early development process at Apex, we kind of thought about all the different options in the industry and in a bunch of different industries like aircraft. And after, can't say there was any beer involved, but after a while, we came up with this Ninja lock washer. And we started off, this used to be just 4 little tabs, but that didn't work with a hex nut with 6 pieces, and our tube ends have 6 pieces as well. So after a lot of development, we came up with this Ninja washer, bend the square tabs over onto the tube. No matter where that jam nut stops, you've got lots of extra tabs to capture the jam nut. And it works great, but it's not perfect. So after feedback from people in the marketplace, they were saying, once you bend it over, they kind of start to rust a little bit. We said, you know what, you're right. So our next step was, we started building these out of stainless. So the stainless obviously is going to last in rusty environments. It's never going to corrode on you, so it won't start to look ugly. But even then, it became a bit of an issue for some people. It was kind of difficult to get all the tabs bent over properly. So our next step is we're pre-bending the tabs. So when you install this, it just goes straight onto the tube. The jam nut gets cinched up. You do your alignment, you bend over the tabs, you're golden.
Tell us about these.
So the funny thing about big jam nuts is nobody has wrenches to be able to properly torque them. Almost everybody's got some gigantic crescent wrench or a great big pipe wrench they can grab onto and hang all their weight on. But we are big fans of torque wrenches, and we saw in the marketplace a company called Motobilt has built this type of wrench. So we called them up and said, hey guys, can you build them for us in metric sizes that match our kits? So they said, sure. So we've had these built now, and it's a really simple thing. It's got a square drive in the middle, a 1/2-inch square drive for pretty much any torque wrench. And then these wrenches here will fit over top of either the jam nut side or the adjusting sleeve side. They come 2 in a kit, so now you can torque it with a torque wrench and you can hit that 150 foot-pound torque spec right on.
So Joe, one of the things that differentiates us from other companies is the variety of materials, coatings, that sort of thing that we can offer for the Jeeps?
So at Apex, we believe in giving customers options. We don't subscribe to a single dogma about this material is the only material you should use. So we make all of our steering kits for the Jeep product available in steel, polished aluminum, and a black anodized aluminum, because not everybody wants the bling, and not everybody needs the performance of aluminum. So for instance, our polished aluminum steering kit is the best polish in the business. It's called a tumble polish, but it's not only is it beautiful when you take it out of the box, it's easier to maintain as the vehicle ages and this starts to oxidize. The second one we do is the black anodized aluminum, and it is a beautiful satin finish. It stands up to solar energy, it doesn't turn gray or green, and it's the same material exactly, it's just black anodized, for those that don't like the bling. And then the third choice is for people that are looking for maybe a little better price point, and they want the performance and they want the strength of the Apex steering system, but they don't really want to spend that much money. So we come out with a steel system. And the steel system is super durable. It doesn't have the flexibility that the aluminum does, but we're not just building a cheap steel steering kit. This shot here, this is what the inside of that steel tube looks like. This is 400 wall DOM steel tubing. If you can bend this, you're a hero.
So why would someone choose DOM over aluminum? Why would you want the aluminum, for example?
So aluminum is well known in the industry. This is 7075 T6 aircraft grade aluminum. What this does is, you may have seen people on YouTube, you can actually pick the vehicle up from the center of the tie rod and you can watch the tie rod bow. Then you put it back down on the wheels and you watch that tie rod drop right back to just about dead even. So if you're a hardcore rock crawler and you might use that tie rod as the lower bumper, you run into a rock, you bounce down a set of ledges. What we like to tell people is when you come over the top of that crest and you look down and you go, uh-oh, look at all those rocks. This is going to give you the confidence in either the aluminum finishes to go ahead, make your way down. You're going to hear a few things go thunk, 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 but at the bottom of the hill when you get out, everything's going to be fine and you're just going to drive away, no issues. With the steel system, if you're not so much into rock crawling, maybe you like to go really fast across the desert and you want a really tight steering system that has almost no flex in it, the steel system is going to give you that super tight steering feel. You're going to be able to do some things you probably shouldn't do, and you'll be able to drive home at the end of the day.
And also just for mom's Jeep on the highway,
Totally.
If she's got some death wobble, this is totally going to tighten up the steering, and it's the most cost-effective way to do it.
Exactly. If you're looking for an OE replacement, an upgrade from the OE parts as your Jeep gets older and you wear out the steering, this is an excellent option at a really nice price point.
So Joe, how would a customer make the choice between our 1-ton steering or our 2.5-ton steering for JK?
Great question. So our 1-ton system is super durable. It's designed more for the 37-inch or smaller tire size, moderate to sort of medium off-road, standard replacements for a stock Jeep where you don't want to spend a bunch of money to go rock crawling, you just want a much stronger steering system. When you get into the 2.5-ton steering, you're getting into larger 2-inch diameter aluminum rods, you're getting into different rod ends, but it's more geared for greater than 37-inch tires, hardcore rock crawling, and honestly the super shiny stuff. It looks big, it looks strong, and it's really cool. Now, keep in mind, at Apex again, it's all about the choices. So for the customers that want the 1-ton, we have it available in polished, black anodized aluminum and steel. Same thing in the 2.5-ton kit, polished, black anodized, and in steel. So it's up to the customer to make the choice that works for them.
We're here at HMC Off-Road with Ben. Ben's been a great customer of ours for, gosh, how many years, Ben?
Here at HMC, I've been here 2 years, and then, at least for 5 to, 7 years kind of at this point with the relationship. So yeah, it's been a good friendship and a good relationship for sure. Apex is the #1 steering that we sell here. We have it in our own personal vehicles. Clients like this one, the one behind us here, it's what they're asking for and it's what they're needing for their bills that are gonna get them to where they want to be. So it's been a great relationship for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Really appreciate it.
So Chris, besides steering, what else does Apex offer that can really improve the handling of a Jeep?
One of our #1 selling parts that we carry are ball joints. This one right here is a Jeep JL or JT ball joint, heavily modified from OE. we upgrade the housing, SA1045 steel. We do a chromoly ball stud with a very specific induction heat treatment. We use rolled threads instead of cut threads, and castle nuts and everything instead of nylox. One thing that we played around with on this one is that we used a bronze bearing on the bottom, and then it's a bit of a hybrid with an acetal bearing on the top because we can form the acetal around the top for the most amount of load disbursement.
Wait a minute, you're using plastic in your bearings?
Yes, all of our testing shows much stronger than metal on metal, much
cool.
longer lasting. We also make everything greasable. All the products that we make are going to be greasable. OE is not greasable. One of the biggest things for the longevity of a ball stud is to make that ball stud larger in diameter. It's just going to be more load disbursement. The part's going to last longer.
Do we do something for the JK as well?
We sure do. The lower looks a lot like this. The upper is a completely different animal on the JK. It looks more like a kingpin than a standard ball stud. So this has to move up and down. It's about a ½ inch of movement up and down. In this one, same thing, we upgrade the housing to SA1045. The OE version had a nylon bearing inside of here. And in this case, that nylon didn't work as well. This would travel up and down, it would carve out the nylon, and then this would start to pendulum within the housing. So we remove the nylon, we put 2 carbon bearings top and bottom with vertical grease grooves, chromoly ball stud, induction heat treatment. Now this is a very, very robust part. Same with all of our parts, lifetime warranty. We're very confident in that. We just don't get these parts back.
So what about the knurling on that ball joint? What's the purpose of that?
Great question. So typically these are aftermarket ball joints. They're going into a worn knuckle, might be a little bit oval shaped because that ball joint's been working in there for 50,000 miles or so. So with the knurling, we slightly swell the housing of the ball joint here. And that way the knurling compresses into the tight bits but expands into the oval bits for a tighter fit.
Okay. Is that always the best answer?
Not always. We actually have on the Dodges and a few of our other applications, we do a non-knurled and we do a knurled version. So there's not really a real science to it. Let's say it's a low mileage vehicle, it's the first set of new ball joints going in, we might recommend the non-knurled. Otherwise, the knurled version might be too tight a fit.
I see. And what does that result in for the customer's vehicle?
Could result in memory steer, so that if it's too tight a fit, it's going to get compressed just slightly. It's going to compress that ball stud and make that ball stud a little bit tighter to move, but eventually, maybe after 500 miles or so, it laps into place and this will be perfect.
Excellent. So on most track bars, particularly the OE versions, you're going to see a cleveite bushing on either end. A cleveite bushing is just rubber vulcanized to steel that gives you some flex, but they're not designed for the kind of articulation you see in a Jeep. So in our case, on both ends of the track bar, we put high articulation spherical rod ends so that as the vehicle moves up and down, as your axle's going forward and back, this has enough flex to keep your axle right where it needs to be throughout the range of motion.
We offer lifetime warranty on all our products. We call it
Okay.
the Apex Honor System Warranty. For example, it's an online form, you fill it out, and you request the warranty that you want based on your satisfaction with the product. You could choose 25% off replacement, and it says here, I literally beat the bejesus out of the part. Nothing should have survived what I put it through. Okay?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad, right? You can ask for 50% off replacement. I admit it, mostly my crazy driving, love the product. You can ask for 75% off replacement. Thanks, I'm pretty tough on stuff, but this did wear out sooner than expected.
Uh-huh.
And of course, you can ask for 100% off. Didn't meet expectations for longevity. Let's try another one.
Cool. How often do people ask for warranty on Apex parts?
Very rarely. Yeah, we're really confident in the quality of the product, and the reason we can offer a lifetime warranty is the stuff rarely comes back.
Good to know.
All right, so this is our newest product. We're going to launch it at the end of April. We've been working on it for over a year to get this design right. This is OE, Bronco tie rod end, and this is our version of the same part. So we've got our OE part here. Typically where these fail is right here. Very narrow, not a lot of meat, and they just taco. You put larger tires on, you're turning the vehicle, and this is just going to bend right here. The other weak point on these is here, the ball stud housing. It's very small ball stud in there. You can see it, there can't be hardly anything in here. compared to ours with, I think our ball stud in here is over 4 millimeters larger in diameter than the OE ball stud.
Cool.
We're 33% larger in the stock across here and much larger in the ball stud down at the rack end.
And what does all that do for you?
Well, larger the ball stud, the more load disbursement, the longer that's going to last. The more meat here, it's just going to be stronger for when you have those bigger tires. You're in the rocks, you're wedged in the rocks, it's not going to bend there. The other thing that we worked on really carefully on these, and a lot of other companies that manufacture these didn't really do that, is in order to make this ball stud bigger, they had to move the pivot point further outboard, which really changed the geometry. It meant that the tie rod was on a steeper angle than the control arm, which is going to start to cause bump steer. So we really worked to minimize the amount we had to bring this pivot point out, and what we did is we offset that amount in the taper here. So it should be on the same plane as the control arm, and you shouldn't have bump steer. This launches end of the month. We're super excited about this product. I just want to take you inside, show you the new digs, and introduce you to some of the crew. Come on in. This is Casey. Casey's in charge of our customer service and sales. Lou. Over here we've got Angelica. She's also customer service and sales. Zeke here in the corner. He does all of our purchasing and data management. Back here we've got Danetta, who you all know.
Hi!
Sales and customer service, one of our partners in the company. Another familiar face. Joe runs all of our data behind the scenes and helps with sales and generally everything else in the company, also one of the owners. Back here's our warehouse. So we just moved in here. We're still kind of getting sorted. We're just had 17 pallets arrive today, so we're in a little disarray, but everything comes in from our manufacturing into this facility here. This is where we repackage into our branded boxes and do all the shipping and receiving. Got a little Instagram area here, Tech Talk area. Socorro, she's helping with our shipping and receiving. So here's where we're doing all of our packaging into branded boxes to ship out to the customers. Right now we're just packaging a bunch of our jam nut wrenches. Got a big order going out for Yukon Gear and Axle for their ball joint program. That'll ship out today. And then same more over here, just shipping and receiving.
We're very, very fortunate as a small company. We've been SEMA members for a few years. We went to the 2023 SEMA event and we had our Ford product entered into the new product showcase, which every year is a focus at SEMA to promote anything that's new or cool in the industry and just kind of draw attention to the people that are in the industry that are making new, neat, advanced stuff. So for us, we won first prize for our Ford steering in the Tora Truck and Off-Road section of SEMA, and we were second place overall in the SEMA New Product Showcase for the off-road section. So it was quite gratifying.
Yeah, it was quite the experience. We did not expect to win that going into the show.
So another thing, Chris, at Apex, we are really strong supporters of the off-road community in general. And one of the things that we do, which we think is unique in the business, we have a group of folks called Apex Trail Ambassadors. And when they're out on the trail with their group of friends, they have in the back of their Jeep a set of spare rod ends for JK and JL that are the common industry 1.25" shank rod ends.
Correct.
So that if they come across somebody on the trail who happens to have broken a rod end for whatever reason, our parts will also fit the RPM steering, they'll fit the rear parts ends, they'll fit Rusty's, and a few other providers in the industry. It's a no-charge program, but we like to say nobody walks home, and we like to put action behind those words, because man, if you're out on the trail and you snap a rod end for any reason,
It's a bad day.
that's a bad day.
So if you're a Jeep group or a Jeep club and you have a big group of people that are out wheeling every weekend and you'd like to apply for our Trail Ambassador program, please give us a call, send us an email, and we'll get a set of spare tie rods and sent out to you.
So at Apex, we love the off-road crowd. Whether you're driving a Ram truck, a Ford Super Duty, if you're an Overlander, a Jeeper, a rock crawler, We've got something for everybody, and we love it all.
Yes, we also have an incredible dealer program. We work on MAP pricing, and we offer discounts off of MAP to our dealers. We'd love to have you sign up as a dealer. There's a form online. Hit wholesale on the website. The form will pop up. Fill that in, name, address, phone number, and we'll have an account set up for you right away. One of our favorite things to do here at Apex is to engage with our customers. We do that through a number of things: events, trade shows, coffee and crawlers. What do we have coming up next?
So we just got back from Jeep Beach, had a great time in Florida. Next one, I believe, is the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee in late August. And then Pomona, and then SEMA again in November, which is the event where we get to meet with all the people that are in the industry and talk about different products and cool stuff. But we also do some other things.
I think one of the most exciting things we launched here in 2024 was the Apex Adventure Series. So for this year, it's going to be 3 events. We've already had our first one. It was at Mount Rainier. Huge success. We did a big snow run going across Mount Rainier. Next one coming up is May 25th at Wolf Caves in Texas. And then after that, it's late August. We have one in Pennsylvania. For next year, we're looking to run 6 events, so we'll be expanding that. We're not sure where they're going to be yet, but stay tuned.
So in addition to the events that we attend, you can find us everywhere. You can call us on our main phone line at 480-470-5500. You can find us at apexchassis.com. You can find us on social media at Apex Chassis.
Correct.
We've got a whole pile of social media influencers in our stable that love our products and are happy to talk about them. So if you see any of them out on the trail, stop by, say, hey, how's it going?
Yes, you can also come visit us here at our warehouse at 3910 East Roser Road, Phoenix, Arizona. We'd love to see you. Well, Joe, this has been a lot of fun.
This has been pretty crazy.
Yeah. Thank you all for being great customers, those of you that are. We look forward to our new customers, and see you on the trails.
Thanks.